Okay, this is a video to show a repair on a 2008 Corolla catalytic converter slash front exhaust pipe. It's all one pipe all the way until you get back to the muffler. Various sections have been welded together, and I think you can buy replacements as smaller portions of this. Well, anyway, what happens here is where there are welds in the manufacturing, in this case there's the heat shield around the cat, you get rust throughs, and this has got a number of holes. It's got a hole up there, that's 1, 2, 3, and one on the other side, 4. There's a spot there where it didn't have it did not have a hole on that one. Okay. Now, it's a very expensive pipe, and I've just prepared this for a patch. I sanded it, I wire brushed it, I put on some hydrochloric acid just to clean it up because it dissolves rust. Then I just washed it off, and now it's all dried out. It's ready to go. It fits into the exhaust manifold right there. I have lowered the pipe here in order to get better access. If I had tried to do this with it originally attached, I'd have a very difficult time getting at these portions. It seems like it would be, let's just say, barely possible, but I didn't have confidence that I'd be able to make a good repair at such an awkward access. So I tried backing out. I wanted to actually lower the whole pipe down to the ground, but what I found was I could only back it out a certain amount before I could not get it over this, and the reason is because of the way that it goes over the rear axle. I can't. I'd have to separate the muffler from this in order to do that, and that's something I did not want to do because I don't like to take components apart if I don't have to, and backing it out this much did give me access to all the portions that I needed, and I thought I was able to get as good access here as I actually would. The only thing I don't get access to is looking at this from the inside. I don't think that's really necessary. Now, I'll show you what I've got to do a repair with. What I'm planning on using is this JB Weld Extreme Heat. This is metallic paste. I've used similar products and I've had relatively good success with this. Now, I brought this car in for the airbag recall, and when it was there they found this leak in the exhaust, and they said, well, the cost for that repair is $2,146.80, and they offered me a $250 discount. So the exhaust leak was, at that point, didn't seem that bad to me. I don't have very good hearing, nor do I have very good smell. And very often on an older car, I do hear rattling on the exhaust. I'm not convinced it's a leak. So in this particular case, I decided to take a chance and bring it in for my inspection. But it turned out they were right. There was an exhaust leak according to the inspector, and at that point I said, okay, I'm going to take a look at it. I did my usual technique. I hooked up my wet dry vac in reverse and blew air in through the exhaust pipe to create positive pressure in the system, and then I used a soapy water bottle on the exhaust components, and I can see where the bubbles are coming out. So some people on a repair like this, all they do is replace a donut between the catalytic converter and the exhaust manifold, because apparently that's a spot which sometimes fails. In this case, I was able to conclude that the problem was not at the donut. The problem was those holes that I was able to show you. So I took off like I said, I took off the exhaust manifold. I'm sorry, the catalytic converter slash front exhaust pipe, and it's held on with these two bolts. I took them off with heat and PB Blaster. On this type of a connection, on this 2008, it's not that difficult to snap these bolts off, which of course I did not want to do. So my technique was, because I don't actually need the car, I can let it sit here for several days. I soaked the bolts. I had access from the front of that bolt location. If you look down right there, you can see right below that O2 sensor is where that exhaust manifold cover, where the bolts, the front end of these bolts. From underneath, you really only get access to the back side of the bolt, which doesn't do you any good. You can get the access to the front of that bolt. And this bolt goes actually through a nut. This is a good candidate for corrosion because it's exposed on both sides. And it will rust through. So I soaked it. I let it soak for a day. Then the next day I would come in and I would heat up those spots. I would then try to remove the 14mm bolts using a long extension and using two means of leverage. One was my 1/2-inch ratchet, the other is the breaker bar. Now, I will allow myself the luxury of giving full force on this ratchet because I knew I didn't have enough strength to break the bolt. With this, on the other hand, I did not allow myself the luxury of going full on that because I knew that I probably could snap it. So what I did was I would apply this with, I would call, a moderate amount of force because I knew that applying this, I couldn't loosen it, but I wasn't at anywhere near the point of breaking it. So I used this to see if I could get it to start. And on one side, after just one day of soaking and heat, on the right side, the bolt started moving. So I just left it there and went off to the other side. Now the other side took me 2 more days soaking it, let it soak overnight, hit it with the heat, then try the next day to back it off. But for 2 days I could not do that, even getting to what I considered to be near the breaking point with this. One day I tried soaking it, and then even after just maybe 1 hour, I tried hitting it with the torch, but you get a lot of burn off flame. I don't like to get a lot of flame under the hood like that, but I did after a couple of days get a little anxious. But fortunately, I didn't need the car, so I did back off on that, and I did get them both out. And when I get them out, once I break the bond, I only turn them small amounts back and forth, and then I put on some more blaster and I back it out. Once I get to the point where I'm using this tool, then I pretty much can take them out a little bit faster. But for quite a few turns, this tool is still required, even just to get it off. Okay, here's the, I used a little hydrochloric acid. I have this for cleaning, basically masonry, cleaning up masonry. That's what I bought it for, but it's good for cleaning rust, particularly on a component like that. I just dabbed it with some Q-tips just to clean it up a little bit, because I want to get this to have as good a bond as I can. This is a paste. I'm going to apply the paste. What I'll do is I'll hit pause while I apply the paste. I've already stirred the paste up. I'm going to apply it with this stick and this little glove. I might just work it in with my fingers. I have quite a bit. I won't need to use all of it. I'm just going to work it into all those holes. I'll hit pause. I'll show you after it's done. Okay, I'm going to hit pause now. Okay, here you can see the material. Basically, I crammed in about half